Cameron Coleman and The Deep perform at the V52 Expo, a convention powered by fans reminiscing about their childhood memories and their son Ryan. Sister Sage mocks Homelander, but he remains unfazed. The Deep and Coleman unveil Phases 7-19, a Vaught's franchise of movies and TV shows, including Training A-Train, The Deep, Gods and Dolphins, Teenage Kicks, Home for Kwanzaa 2, and G-Men, Days Past from the Future. The event is similar to Disney's D23 Expo in the Boys universe. Huey is shocked to learn that his father, Hugh Campbell, has woken up and feels great. Daphne admits to injecting Compound V after it fell out of Huey's pocket. Huey explains that Hugh seems to be acting like his old self. Annie watches Firecracker's show, where the soup announces she will press charges against Starlighters. Annie walks around the Starlight house, tears streaming down her face. MM and his ex-wife Monique try to talk with their daughter Janine, who has become erratically aggressive after her stepdad Todd's murder. Butcher meets Joe Kessler and is offered a mission to fight the Soupies. Despite having two Soupies, Annie and Kimiko, he is unsure. Annie questions Frenchie about Colin's disappearance, but he dismisses it. Butcher informs them about Kessler's mission, which involves a virus created by scientists at Godolphin University that kills soups but is harmless to humans. They learn about Kessler's mission. Butcher plans to steal the virus from Vice President-elect Victoria Newman, kill her, and pursue Homelander. He asks MM for a presidential pardon. During the V52 presentation, Sage suspects A-Train stole footage that acquitted the men Vought framed for the murder of the three Home-Truthers. Sage confronts A-Train, hinting that she believes he stole the footage. Stan Edgar, the former CEO of Vought, is visited in jail by Butcher and MM. Even if it gives him freedom, Edgar doesn't seem interested in helping them obtain the virus and disputes ever knowing about it. He is about to leave when Butcher tells him that Newman gave her daughter Zoe a Compound V injection, turning her into a soup. Butcher also assures Edgar that he will clear his name and give him custody of Zoe. Hugh Sr. reflects on his honeymoon with Daphne, deciding they need another family vacation. Butcher, MM, Annie, Kimiko, and Frenchie visit Edgar's old estate to find Newman conducting virus tests. They discover Newman has been monitoring animals with Compound V. Edgar's nose bleeds, but Newman reveals she has been tracking his ankle bracelet. She asks about Samir, believing they kidnapped him, but they deny this. The team's noses bleed, except for Edgar, who is left bleeding. Adam Book pitches Ryan for the new Vought Plus original series Super School, but he declines. Homelander praises Ryan for speaking up for himself and cancels the series. Homelander assures Ryan and Ryan that there will be no more rules, allowing them total emancipation. Newman, Edgar, and the boys discover the corpse of a scientist at Edgar's estate and are attacked by superpowered chickens injected with V. They flee the farmhouse and reveal that Butcher made a deal with Annie to clear Huey's files and get Ryan back. Butcher pleads with Annie, but doesn't go through with the deal. Newman mocks Annie about attacking Firecracker, leading her to retaliate by punching the VP-elect. Butcher finds a dying rabbit injected with Compound V and watches as mini tentacles spring out of its torso. Both Newman and the boys wonder if a similar fate awaits due to the worm crawling under his skin. During Tech Night's presentation, A-Train and Ashley discuss the leaked footage of the Home-Truthers murders. The speedster admits to Vaught's former CEO that he leaked the footage and blackmails her into helping him. A-Train urges Ashley to help him make the leak go away, as she has been named his accomplice in the leak. Huey and Daphne visit their father's hospital suite, where they find his bed empty and Daphne reading a book. Daphne suspects Hugh Sr. is with them, and they search the hospital, finding Hugh Sr. sulking and staring at the wall. Huey approaches his father, but is frozen when he sees a patient's corpse with a hole in his torso. Hugh Sr. is covered in blood and holding a patient's heart. Huey attempts to calm him, but Hugh Sr. fails to recognize him. A nurse sees the carnage and calls for security. Panicked, Hugh Sr. runs through the wall, revealing his new ability, Compound V. He kills a patient flirting with a nurse, leaving his body a bloody cake of organs. Huey and Daphne confront Hugh Sr., who fails to recognize them and mumbles about taking Huey to a toy store. He recognizes Daphne, but grows angry, blaming her for ruining his and Huey's lives. As he approaches his terrified wife and son, a security guard blocks him, but Hugh Sr. kills him by impaling him with a vibrating fist. Homelander tries to bond with Ryan, who reveals he wants to use his powers to help people. Ryan spots Bork making Bonnie uncomfortable, so Homelander calls them over. Ryan is encouraged to humiliate Burke into apologizing, leading to repeated slaps by Bonnie. A flying sheep attacks the bull, dismembering several of Newman's scientists. The group seeks shelter in a boarded-up farmhouse, fearing they won't be forgiven if they reveal the truth. Upon their arrival, Samir, who was previously the top man at Vought R&D, is revealed to be romantically involved with Newman and Zoe's biological father. Edgar informs informs the boys that Samir was fired after his romance with Newman was discovered. The team decides to use the syringe to transmit the virus to the V-infused sheep by sticking it into the corpse of a dead scientist. Huey and Daphne are in an operating room at the hospital, searching for a safe haven amid sirens. Hugh Sr. enters the room using his powers and confronts Daphne, who is terrified. Huey shares his story about buying the Tech Knight doll and admits that Hugh Sr. is his hero. Hugh Sr. recognizes his son and breaks down in tears, unsure of his future. The V-Ed Up sheep enter a shelter, leading Newman, Edgar, and the boys to flee. They are cornered by a sheep covered in tumors from the virus, which vomits profusely before dropping dead. Newman realizes that Samir is missing. Edgar is sent back to prison, claiming he failed to give the boys access to the virus. The FBSA clears the scene, and an agent informs Newman that they cannot find Samir's body, leaving only his amputated leg. Edgar is driven back to prison, and Newman explodes the head of his chauffeur and takes him with him. Homelander convenes the Seven and Guardians of Godolkin at Vought Tower, warning them of a future where they will become vengeful gods. He reveals a security footage leak and calls for the Deep to bring Cameron Coleman in. Ashley watches from the sidelines, implying she framed Coleman to clear herself an A-train. The Seven beat the news anchor to death. Kimiko attempts to contact Frenchie, but is unsuccessful. Frenchie confesses to his past murders and is shown in a police department. Huey and Daphne agree on euthanasia as the only solution, and Huey cries into his mother's arms after Hugh Sr. passes away. The episode ends with Butcher bringing Kessler to Edgar's estate, where he kidnaps the scientist to force him to create more of the virus after amputating Samir's leg.